Hey guys, it's Melanie. Happy Monday and welcome back. I hope you had a good weekend. So this is the kind of the last week for my favorites series from 2021 in terms of beauty products. I do still have a couple more videos coming for the home fragrance over the next couple of Sundays. So if you're interested in home fragrance, those will pop up then. But today we are talking about my top 5 makeup picks from last year. And then a lot of you did request that I do a body care version as well. So I'm planning to do that on Wednesday. So if you're interested in that, make sure you're subscribed and that should hopefully pop up in your subscription box. But today we are talking all about makeup. I am someone who is a huge lover of makeup. I wear it to some degree almost every single day of my life. And let me just put this out there. I don't wear makeup because I think I need it. I really truly wear makeup because I like it. I like playing with it. I love being able to tweak my features if that's what I want to do. I like playing with I like playing with colors, but as you guys know, my colors tend to be on the more muted end of the spectrum. But I do like color. And there are times, where I think it's appropriate to put on like a beautiful emerald green and maybe purple eyeshadow. It's just that for me in my kind of like practical everyday life, a dramatic eye look is probably not what's super appropriate given that, I'm just running my kid around, picking her up from school and, running her on errands and running my own errands and, like Zoom meetings and things like that. So for me, I do tend to prefer my makeup on the more natural end of the spectrum, but I love it. I have loved makeup ever since I was a little girl. I didn't grow up with a mother who really wore a lot of makeup, and in fact, at this point in her life, she's gonna turn 61 this weekend. She still doesn't wear a stitch of makeup. I think if my mom wears even chapstick, like that's a huge, feat for her. She just doesn't care. She doesn't care. And so when I was growing up, I always would admire women, like when my mom and I would go to the mall together or to the grocery store or wherever, like my mom and I went everywhere together when I was younger. I would always look at women who wore makeup and I would just be like, I just love it. It's so fun. It can be so pretty. It's so artistic and I love it. And that's why I wear makeup. So most days I do wear makeup to some degree, but there are, like, for example, this past weekend, I didn't wear any makeup on Saturday or Sunday. I don't know. I just wanted to give my skin a break. And quite frankly, I was just a little bit lazy. I was kind of focused on other things. Like we were rearranging our garage this past weekend and I was like, do I really need to put on a full face? By the way, there was my assistant Alf. Do I need to put on a full face of makeup to like rearrange our garage? Probably not. So, but it is fun. This is fun for me. I love being able to, tweak my look. I love being able to play with colors and just get creative. That's what I think makeup means to me. I do think there are a lot of women that do wear makeup because they think that they're supposed to or they feel like they have to. I don't have that pressure at all. I wear it because I like it. Now, I have not purchased nearly as much makeup as I have in the past, and kind of the lesson that I learned, and I promise I will get into the faves here, but I do think talking a little bit about this is important because we are a society, especially here in the US, of like over-consuming things, and I am 100% guilty of that. And one of the things that I was always over-consuming was makeup. And so this past year, I really didn't buy nearly as much as I have in previous years. I've become a little bit more thoughtful about the makeup buying process. I have decluttered a lot of my makeup. In fact, I just went through this past weekend and did my first round of decluttering. I've got a bunch of stuff sitting off here to the side. A lot of you do like watching these declutter videos, so I am going to show you later on at the end of this month what I've decided to get rid of finally. It's tough because I am now getting to the point where I am getting kind of to where there are some difficult decisions that I have to make, but that's okay. they have to be made. Makeup does go bad. And, you know, there's also a lot of things that I'm just not wearing. And so I should pass those things along if they're not expired. And if I can properly disinfect them, I will pass them along to friends or my nieces who have always been super appreciative of this stuff. So, but yeah, I'm not buying nearly as much. I'm a lot more mindful. But don't get me wrong, I still get suckered in. Every time a new eyeshadow palette comes out, like I find myself purposely having to stay away from the Trend Mood Instagram account because that has kind of been my vice in the past. I've seen, you know, them posting a bunch of new things and I'm like, oh, I need that. But then when I really look at it, I think, no, I don't, because one, I already have an eyeshadow palette that's probably very similar, or I have a bunch of different colors from different palettes that I could assemble together and make almost the exact same palette at this point. So do I really need that? Probably not, but you know, sometimes it is nice to have everything just in one area kind of pre-made for you. But yeah, anyway, makeup to me is fun, and that's what I think it should be. I don't think that people should have to wear makeup. If you don't like it, don't wear it. I don't look at women who don't wear makeup any differently than I do women who choose to wear it. It's just a personal preference. I do find that maybe I have a little bit more confidence when I'm wearing makeup, because here's the thing, I do think that I'm treated differently when I'm wearing makeup versus when I don't, and maybe subconsciously that does kind of play in my mind in terms of like my love for the makeup, because it's nicer to be treated better, right? Not that I get treated bad without makeup, but you know, I find that like, especially in places like Sephora or Ulta, when I go in there with makeup on versus when I don't, there's a difference. Like when I go in with like the makeup all done, the hair nice, associates seem a lot more apt to want to help or to like ask, you know, like, can I help you find something? Or can I make a suggestion to you? When I walk in without makeup, I think they're just like, oh yeah, that girl must just be in here to look around or something. Clearly she doesn't wear makeup. I don't know what their thought process is, but there is a difference. Does that suck? Yeah. Do I think that should be a thing? No, but I don't know. It seems like it is to me, but despite all of that, I just still love makeup. So all that being said, I'm going to take you guys through my top 5 makeup items from 2021. Again, this was hard for me. This was another hard category where I had to make tough decisions. And you know how I based my decisions here is what were the things that I reached for the most consistently, the most often? What are my most loved items that if I lost them, I would repurchase them in a heartbeat? And then I did want to put at least one thing in here that I definitely bought last year that I really enjoyed, fell in love with, have gotten a lot of use out of. So some of these things might be, I don't think you're gonna be surprised by any of these things. So let's just say that. Let's jump right in. I will put links for everything in the description box down below, so make sure you check that out. That'll tell you where to buy these things. I'll try to find any sale prices, best prices, things like that. First thing I'm gonna start with is actually a primer. I have extremely oily eyelids. Along with my oily like facial skin, my eyelids are also oily. I need an eye primer, otherwise my eye makeup just disappears. My lids get oily after about an hour of applying my makeup if I don't use a primer. But if I use an eye primer, I always, hands down, the eyeshadow stays put and true to color the entire day. The entire day. My favorite this year and in years past has been the Viseart Seamless Eye Primer. If you are someone who deals with very watery, runny eyes, it took me a while to figure this out, but there are certain eye primers that I can't use because they make my eyes water. The Viseart one does not. If you are someone who constantly has runny, watery eyes and you use an eye primer every day of your life, try not using it or try using a different brand. For example, I can use the Too Faced eyeshadow primer. That one works well for me, but you know what I cannot? The Urban Decay makes my eyes water. I can use this one from Viseart, but I cannot use the eye primer from Lorac. Makes my eyes water. Most of the like drugstore eyeshadow primers that I've tried, I think there was one from Milani, there was one from NYX, both made my eyes water, can't use them. The Viseart, I can use it. This is a must-have makeup. I call this a makeup item. I don't know. I wouldn't have put this in skincare, but it does absorb the excess oil. It's a must for me. I cannot be without this. You guys, foundation. I am a loyal, avid devotee, if you will, of powder foundation. I have just come to terms with the fact that with an oily skin type, liquid foundations just do not work for me. And I know there are a lot of people out there with oily skin who do have liquid foundations that work really quite well for them, whether they be from Makeup Forever or KVD or trust me, I've gotten lots of suggestions of liquid foundations to try, and none of them work the way that that I need them to. They just don't stay put on my skin. My skin gets very oily, and what happens when I use a liquid is it lifts off and slides down my face, and that's not a good look. Also, liquid foundations oxidize on me. The vast majority have always oxidized because they're mixing with the oil when it comes in and makes the foundation look a lot darker, and I don't like it. So you guys, it's always going to be Laura Geller Balance and Brighten. I will be devastated if Laura Geller ever goes out of business. I always have fears about it because I just don't see the brand being talked about a whole lot. I know there's a lot of women, especially a lot of more mature, older women who do love this Balance and Brighten powder foundation and have used it for years, and you know, all of us continue to just buy it over and over again. They sell a ton of this product, so I'm hoping that keeps Laura Geller in business. But this is the best one that I've ever found. Oddly enough, this is not the best color match for me. This is very neutral toned, leans a little bit more cool, but I color correct it with another powder foundation, which seems silly, but there is something about the way that this wears on my skin, the way it looks on my skin. It is never flat or matte. It has a beautiful kind of soft demi-matte finish to it. It wears all day. It just evens out. I don't really have any hyperpigmentation, but you know, I do have a little bit of redness around my face. It covers that up for me. I can use it all the way underneath my eyes. Like, I never have issues with, you know, bringing the powder foundation up underneath my eyes. It just is the most lovely, hi Alf. It is the most lovely powder foundation that I have ever used in my entire life, and I always go back to it time and time again whenever I find it on sale, whether it's on the Laura Geller website or through like the GMA Daily Deals or something. I always buy at least like 5 or 6 because I go through them frequently. I love it. I'm in the shade Fair. The color, you guys, the color range is atrocious. I'm not going to sugarcoat that at all. Like I said, the Fair is not even the best fit for me. The light is too dark. It has a lot more yellow in it, which is better for my undertones, but it's too dark. The Porcelain is a little too pink, and it's a little too light. I have mixed Porcelain with Fair, and that does kind of balance out like a better color combination for me, but I don't always do that. Sometimes I'll use another powder foundation, like from Wander Beauty, or right now I'm using this one from Becca, which is, I think, now not even a company anymore. So something that has a lot more yellow in it. I'll use that to kind of balance out. Thankfully, I'm almost done with this. I am trying to finish up a bunch of my older makeup, but yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, let's talk blush. It's going to be Hourglass, and it's going to be any of the Hourglass ambient lighting blushes. They are beautiful. They give a lit from within glow. They are not too shiny, but they're also not like flat matte. They just look like the most natural blush that you could ever use. And some of my favorites are in this palette, which was a limited edition holiday thing several years ago. Mood Exposure. Love it. Incandescent Electra, love it. Also, Dim Infusion, is it? Hold please. Now I have to show you because yeah, I have some more here. I also just buy them in the singles. Diffused Heat. Diffused Heat is beautiful. Dim Infusion, yeah, this guy right here. Oh, I love me some Dim Infusion. During the spring and summer, Dim Infusion is always on my cheeks along with Incandescent Electra. Gorgeous. What's this? Oh, Sublime Flush. Oh, you guys, this color right here, gorgeous. There is just something about the way these look on my skin that no other blush is really able to achieve. They're expensive. I don't really hear people raving about Hourglass products much in general anymore, which is a bummer. I love the brand. I love that they are very obviously cruelty-free. I love that they are trying to be a little bit more sustainable. I think they're a fantastic blush brand overall, and if I ever lost any one of these Hourglass blushes, I would replace it in a heartbeat. I would not wait for a Sephora sale. I would not wait for an Ulta coupon. I would drive myself down to, I don't know, pick one, Sephora or Ulta, and I would buy whatever blush I misplaced or lost, and I would have it back in my collection in a heartbeat. Gorgeous. Must try at some point. They do have some minis, which, you know, is a great way to try it. The minis selection in terms of colors, kind of small, but if you find one, then definitely try that. Oh, they're just beautiful. I love them. All right, let's talk contour. Contour powder for me is pretty much a must every single day. I do have a very round face. I do like to put some angles where they do not exist, and the best, the very best, top, most amazing sculpting powder that I've ever found is from Kevyn Aucoin, and it is the Kevyn Aucoin the sculpting powder. In fact, you know what, you guys, I just opened this one this morning. It still had the little plastic thing on it, but you can see I used it this morning because I finished my last one either yesterday or the day before. This in the shade medium is the most perfect contour powder for me. I like to contour my cheeks. I like to contour the sides of my nose. And most days I forget to do it, but I also, when I contour around my temples, it makes my forehead, which someone informed me for the size of my forehead is actually a 5 head. I know that I have a big forehead. I have a lot of big things about me. I'm just a substantial person in that way. So, you know, but it is kind of nice to be able to contour that and bring it down a little bit, but I don't feel the need to do that every single day. But my cheekbones, yes, I love pretending I have some that show. I love just slimming down my nose ever so slightly. It's just fun, right? Like I can play with the angles that I don't technically have on my face, and it can really change the way that I look if that's what I'm interested in. And this one is just hands down always the best. I know that it looks tiny, but you know what? One of these lasts me like a year, if not more. This is incredible. This is, I have backups of it. How many backups do I have? I have 2 others as backups. Will I need these anytime soon? No, I'll probably open another one next year and then another one the following year, but I just don't ever want to be without it. And if I can find it on sale, I'll usually stock up on a couple. I love this. It's so good. Just can't say enough good things about it. And let's talk eyeshadow, because one of my favorite things to play with in terms of color is eyeshadows. The rest of my face is pretty neutral, and my eyes are pretty neutral most of the time anyway. But I do love eyeshadow. I still have quite an extensive eyeshadow collection, eyeshadow palette collection, I guess I should say. Not a ton of singles anymore, got rid of most of those, but I do have a lot of palettes left. They're so fun to play with. There is nothing more exciting than getting a new eyeshadow palette, especially if it's, sorry, I'm petting the dog while I'm talking to you guys to keep him from having a meltdown in the background. But there's just nothing more fun than getting a fresh eyeshadow palette and playing with it. Last year I picked this up and I've fallen in love with it. In general, I really like the Natasha Denona eyeshadow palettes. I know you thought that I would be bringing this up, and quite frankly, it's still one of my top favorites. It's the Viseart Grand Pro 1, their original, which is all matte. So this is the OG. They have since changed it a little bit, but it is back. It's got some new colors in it. I think they took out maybe a couple of these that are in the OG, and they're a slightly different size. It's still a ton of eyeshadow. It's still an incredible deal, even for full price, but this palette was the best 150 bucks that I ever spent on eyeshadow. I love the Viseart eyeshadows. They're still my favorites, but in the interest of just talking about something different for once, I'm going to give it to the Natasha Denona Retro palette. I'm wearing this palette again today. I reached for it a ton after I bought it. You can see she's gotten some pretty decent use. My favorite colors in here are the nude mauve. I love the shade Andy. I love the shade Maud. Right next door here is Jude. I love Apart, Helio. It's just a beautiful swing, this gorgeous purple here in the corner. I love this palette. I think her formulas are wonderful. There is some fallout, which I don't notice as much of with my Viseart, but it's fine. With my powder foundation, I can just brush it away. It's not a big deal to me. I think the packaging of this is lovely. I also love and adore her Lila palette, which is one of the older ones. This style right here. I think this is also a beautiful eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. I just think they're a great formula, and I love that she puts out the minis. I know a lot of people purchase the minis instead of these larger palettes because these larger palettes they're quite expensive, but the formula is wonderful. It really has a good vibrancy to it. There's good pigmentation. There's good longevity of wear. I think she puts out a lot of different color combinations. I like the fact that there's a lot of these like pinks and mauves that she tends to put out frequently. I just think they're a great formula and they're easy for me to work with. And it was something new last year that I could incorporate because quite frankly, all of this stuff here I've talked about probably to death on my channel. So I don't think you guys were surprised by any of these picks, but it's the most used, the most loved, and what I always go back to time and time again. You know, if I was just allowed one thing from each category, like those, I mean, obviously I'd need a lipstick and a mascara, but like I would be so content with just having that as my face. Someone might say, well, why don't you just do that? Well, I like variety. I mean, I do like switching it up every now and then, but they're just staple products that you always go back to. These are mine. So let me know what your most loved makeup items were from 2021 in the comments down below. If you're new here, please subscribe. I hope you'll stick around. Give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for the body care stuff if you're interested. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Toodaloo.